Well, hello and welcome, manga and comic connoisseurs. I am your host for today's issue, Xboxgut, aka Cameron, and I am also joined by my co-host for today's issue, Luke, or MLGman, aka Luke. For today's episode, we're not really set in stone on a couple certain topics that we're going to talk about. We're just going to kind of shoot the shit on what we've been doing recently. I've been gaming a ton. I haven't really read too much. I've been reading my weekly pulls, and I haven't even been reading too much of Berserk. But I know my boy Luke here has read a shitload of stuff that we can talk about. Um, yeah, so let's just get right into it without further ado. I hope you guys enjoy.
Absolutely, man. I've been. It's been a minute since we last talked too. I feel like I mean, we did our last episode, which if you guys, by the time this comes out, it'll be out. We had our first guest, JS Productions, and that episode was a ton of fun to do. Um, but since then, I mean, we haven't really talked much off camera or in the DMs a whole lot. We've just been, I mean, I've just been kind of busy myself, and you've just been hanging out. I know you were sick and all that. Um,
Yeah,
but yeah, it feels good to be back and talk with you, man. It feels like it's been too long.
yeah, 100%, man, 100%. I was actually at a Barnes and Noble. Uh, was it a weekend ago? Not this weekend, but last weekend I was at Barnes and Noble, and because I took my mom out for around her birthday time, and they had a deal going on the signature versions of Kingdom, and I
Hmm.
almost bought Kingdom 1, 2, and 3. But you know me, man. I'm real frugal when it comes to buying shit, so I didn't end up buying them, so because you know I knew they were just gonna be sitting on my shelf, and I knew I wasn't gonna get around to them for a very long time. So yeah, that's why I haven't been buying Kingdom or Baki, even though those are two series that I am very interested in. I just not really too interested in reading them right now at the moment.
Yeah, well, I mean, you know me. I spend easy money, but I have been doing better. I will say I have been doing better lately with the spending. But Kingdom was one that I did pick up recently, though. That was one that I set aside budget for. In fact, I was gonna get the issue or volume 4 that comes out this month, but I ended up canceling that order, and I'm just gonna wait until more of it comes out. But I read, you can see them back here. I read volume 1, and then I got 2 and 3 in the mail the other day, and I'm gonna be reading those within the next few days. But yeah, volume 1, like I did a video that's gonna come out sooner than later of everything that I read in January, just kind of doing like little reviews, like wrapping up the month. And I talked about Kingdom, and like Volume 1 is one of those things. I feel like a lot of series just kind of feel a little bit generic out the door because the series starts with a lot of tropes and stuff that you see like a lot. But then there's also just I feel like a lot of potential that it has. So that's why I'm really excited to read volumes 2 and 3 because I don't know. It's like the beginning of a series can be okay, but it's more what defines a series to me is more about what it does from there. Like the beginning doesn't matter a whole ton other than like setting stuff up, but um yeah, it's for me it's more about what it does later on, you know. So I'm excited to continue with Kingdom. But yeah, no, it was pretty cool. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, another thing, the reason why I'm not really too, I mean, I'm interested in reading it, but it's just such a long, it's like on volume like 80 in Japan right now. So yeah, that's just another thing that I'm just like kind of that's turning me off on the series as well. Like I do think it's cool. I think the whole 4D chess, you know, full scale fucking siege battles that happen in the series that are an entire arc is basically just a battle. I think that's cool, but I guess I'm just not interested in reading it issue by or volume by volume by volume. I'd kind of would rather take it in you know, full plate sizes and not just bite-sized chunks. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I wasn't originally gonna pick it up month to month because they're releasing them monthly, which is pretty cool, but it's just a lot to keep up with. But the way I was gonna do it was like pick it up seasonally. So then like I would just have like 3 or 4 volumes that I pick up at a time, and then have a good chunk of it to read. But honestly, man, I think the way I'm gonna do it is I'm just gonna wait till the summer and then probably go to Barnes and Noble and take advantage of like the buy two get one free or whatever they do. And then I also have like I get points at Barnes and Noble. They have like little punch card system, and just kind of do it that way. Hopefully it'll be cheaper and I can use some coupons towards it too. So I think that's the smarter way to do it.
Yeah, whenever I went to go buy them, they had a buy one get one half off,
Okay.
and that still wasn't enough to get me in the door. But I, like I said, you know me, man. I'm real frugal when it comes to buying shit. When on the book sides of things. So yeah, and then I saw some Baki as well. But didn't end up pulling the trigger on that. That's another thing, man. Baki is so long, and there's so many different like not manga arcs, but there's so many different series within Baki where it's like Baki the Grappler, Baki the Ogre, Baki itself. There's so many different series that are like basically JoJo parts, but instead of it being, different universes or different, time periods in the timeline, it's one continuous story. And yeah, I'm not interested in taking it in bite-sized chunks. I'd rather just get it all at once. Yeah, those are two series that I am interested in, but not interested enough to be picking them up monthly.
Well, Baki's pretty crazy too because they're releasing two of those Jokers a month, which is insane. And they're $20 a piece too, which is I mean they're good quality, and they're thick volumes because they're like two in ones I think. Um, but I mean $40 a month for Baki, like it's pretty difficult to stay current with that, as far as like the English release. So I have the first few of them, but yeah, that's one that I even me who tends to spend more than you, like I seriously can't keep up with that. So I'll have to just read it some other day. I'm gonna read what I have of it, and then if I like it, then I'll keep it in the back of my mind that that's something that I do want to check out at a later date.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think with most of my series, um, I want to say basically every single one of them. I don't think I've kept up with a single one that has been maybe even, but nah, not even Chainsaw Man. I bought all. I guess it was Chainsaw Man. Like I bought all first 5 volumes whenever I got into Chainsaw Man, and that was all that was. That was the first 5. Then after that, I'd be picking up um, a new volume every time it came out. But until it started getting into part 2, which I don't really like at all, to be honest. I think the series is called Chainsaw Man, and Chainsaw Man takes a back seat pretty heavily in part 2. He's more of like a mythical, like rare character that you kind of get cameos of rather than him being the main character, which I think it definitely takes away from the story. I think Asta's a cool character, but that would anyway. That's one of the series that I did keep up with every couple months whenever they'd come out with a new volume. But yeah, Chainsaw Man fell off hard for me, man. Very very hard.
Yeah, I love Chainsaw Man too, but I have not been current with it. Like I think the last one I picked up was volume 17. I think that was back in October. Um, but with Chainsaw Man, I think like I'm done picking it up for now. Like I'm gonna wait until probably part two wraps up before I get the rest. Like there's just no point, and I want to be able to read all of just like how I did part one. Like I read part one a couple times just all the way through, and I want to be able to do that with part two. I don't know how much longer. I think we talked about this on an episode before, but I don't know how much longer Chainsaw Man is going to be going on. But at least for part two.
Yeah, I hope part 2 wraps up soon. I from what I've read a good chunk of it. I was keeping up with it weekly, and yeah, I thought it was all right, but nothing. It's not even close to as good as part 1, man. Part 1, especially after the Reze arc. I think the Reze arc is my favorite part of Chainsaw Man just because of the implication of the entirety of what the arc like meant and stuff like that,
For
and
sure.
the imagery and like the basically the moral of that whole arc to me basically hit home for me. So that's why it's my favorite part. But I think especially after this part of the story, whenever we start getting into like I think it's like the Santa Claus Devil. All this, it starts fucking getting off the chain, man. No pun intended, but it gets crazy, and I feel like Chainsaw Man will never be able to hit those highs again, in my opinion, because I loved um just all of part one in general, man, because of how small scale it felt at the first half of part one, and then you have that very heart gut punching middle arc with Reze, and then how it just totally gets Fujimoto crazy towards the end of it. I think yeah, it's like it's hard. It's hard whenever you're reading part two and you just feel like Fujimoto doesn't really give a shit as much as he did in part one. I feel like that's how I read part two, and I think I'm just chasing that dragon, man, of just how good part one was and how much I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I could definitely feel that. I know a lot of people, like, it's been going on for a few years now, and I know a lot of people are really mixed on it. But one of the things about it that I was really intrigued by for part two was how they're introducing, like, the four horsemen of the apocalypse. Because, like, well, I mean, obviously there's the war devil, but, like, famine and pestilence and whatever. Like, I thought that was a really sick concept.
Yeah,
So
yeah, for
I
sure.
don't know what they're doing with that, but that was one of the things that I was excited for to see if that gets expanded upon, and see if we get some sort of, like, I don't know, like apocalypse devil or something, like, just like, I don't know. I
Or
thought it
like,
would be cool.
well, that's the thing. Like the way you think about Bug Wars and like the potential, like I feel like that's how it is with Chainsaw Man. Like there's so many fears, like the anxiety devil. You know what I mean? Like crazy stuff like that. Like the control devil, which was Makima. Like
Right.
there's so many different like levels to how intense the story could get, with like the gun devil being the main, or not the main, but like kind of like the sub antagonist of part one was fucking awesome. I think that's awesome. I really hope that part three does focus, because I'm sure where I left off, I'm sure Chainsaw Man and Asa kind of do get back into it, because I did see some stuff on the subreddit where Chainsaw Man does become not the main character, but kind of like an Aki or a power that was part one. You know what I mean? But Asa is still like the main character. Yeah, I feel like this is gonna be one of those parts where it's like it's gonna be like an 8-part series or something like that. But it's gonna be like part two is it was all right for me personally.
Yeah, for sure, man. Um, well, aside from Chainsaw Man, one of the manga that I was keeping up with, but it kind of, I don't know, dropped, and I was waiting for more of it to come out, was One Piece. Um, that's one that I'm excited for because here in March, what is it, volume 111 or 112 comes out, which is going to wrap up the Egghead arc. And
Mm.
I haven't read Wano yet. Because I left off at the very end of Whole Cake Island, which I read, which is like volume 89 or something. And I was gonna read Wano, but then I just decided to wait to read Wano, and then I was just gonna read Wano and Egghead back to back. And now Egghead is finally out physically, and it's wrapping up here, so I'm gonna be able to binge the last, I don't know, 20-ish volumes of One Piece, which I haven't been able to do in a very long time. And One Piece is one of my absolute favorites, so I'm excited. And over the last few years, I'm definitely behind on One Piece, but there's so much, especially from the Egghead arc, that I've heard is just crazy, dude. Like, with all of what they call the Seraphim, and like, uh, the world leaders or whatever, they're like demons or some shit. Like, dude, there, and like the Kizaru fight. Um, yeah, no, there's just a bunch of, and like all of the different, what do you call it, the Devil Fruit awakenings. Like Lucci from part, or not, I say part, but from Water 7 comes back, and he has like this new awakening ability. Dude, there's just so much cool shit that I haven't been current on, but I'm excited to get back into One Piece this spring or summer. It's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, yeah. I'm just waiting for that next box set to come out. I'm not really hot take, man. I'm not too hot on One Piece, man. I think it's like I I understand why people enjoy it, but me and my buddy were having this conversation um like 2 days ago or something like that. I was playing a Counter Strike, and me and him were talking about One Piece, and well, because he started the conversation with Dragon Ball Z, and like we were talking about it and stuff like that, and then we started talking about just shonen in general, and I just feel like I like One Piece. I just don't like love it. The thing I'm like pretty far. I'm like more than halfway through the series. There's so many shonen, like, which I understand Bleach, I understand Naruto. They're like 74 volumes a piece, right?
Yeah,
Um, but there's so many series that are like One Punch Man. No, I shouldn't say One Punch Man. I'll go like more classic, like Toriko, Chainsaw Man. I know that Chainsaw Man's obviously modern, but it falls in the same category that I'm going to talk about. Um, Claymore, Dragon Ball Z, Toriko, like all those series are basically done, right? Except for Dragon Ball, which is going on with Super, but still isn't. Even whenever Akira Toriyama was still alive, it wasn't his like story itself. It was just in the image of what Z was. I think like the problem that I have with One Piece, I think it's cool. I just think that the length is the problem for me, man. Like it whenever you have series that are 35 volumes, 40 volumes, which is still fucking extremely long, they get the world building and the power scaling across a lot more efficiently than One Piece does, in my opinion. Like I think like One Piece it just takes too long, man. Like we're getting 50 volumes into the series until we get some major players in the ring, like Blackbeard, Whitebeard, like it's seriously until Impel Down or you know the Paramount War where we actually start getting some like extreme world building, other than it's just like Sanji wants to go to the East Blue, where it's like or not East Blue, West Blue, where there's like all kinds of different fish. Like I
well,
get
he
that.
wants to
The
find the all blue.
Yeah, yeah, something like that. Yeah, it's just like the world building is real soft in the first like 50 volumes of One Piece, and I think it doesn't start getting crazy until Wano, whenever Joy Boy starts getting revealed, or like you know like all the different crazy shit that happens in the second half of One Piece. I just think there's so many other shonen series that get across their world building and power scaling like One Piece does, but like with less, when more than half less the content. You know what I mean? I think One Piece is just it's overhyped, man. And I don't know how you feel about that. I think it's great, but I just don't think it's like it's it's just like, especially with the anime, man, where you got like 1,300 episodes and like we're barely even knowing that the fucking One Piece is real. Like barely. I think it's just like, all right, man. What are we doing here? We need to start wrapping this shit up. It's been almost 30 fucking years since this shit has been out. So
I agree with some parts and disagree with others. You know me, the way that I look at comics and stuff. I One of the big things that I look at is potential. And we talked about this with Bug Wars. We talk about this with, my theory crafting stuff with Berserk and how I'm always like thinking of imagery and putting things together. Like that's just like how I do. And with something like One Piece, uh, obviously what's happening like in the now is extremely important. But one of the to me something equally as important or um, still very important to me is just the the I don't know, the foreshadowing and foresight needed to like set things up and then being able to have like a slow burn and actually watch it like pay off over a long period of time. And that's the thing about One Piece is like, yes, there are series that are able to do world building and still be super, you know, badass and execute what they're trying to do far more efficiently, of course. Like even something like Black Clover, right? Um, which is another one of my favorite shonen. But I think with One Piece, like if you're going into it with the mindset it's also like a mindset thing. Like I went into One Piece to be a part of like a journey. You know what I mean? Just kind of let Oda take me where he wants to take me, and that's it sort of makes you feel like you're on the crew. You know what I mean? Like you've got these seafaring people. You know, they're going from place to place, and if you really think about it, you know that takes an incredible amount of time. And so in a way, it almost feels like you yourself are being put in the shoes of like an explorer. Like you feel like Christopher Columbus or some shit, you know, being a part of this crew. And you know, especially if you've been following One Piece for a long time, you're exploring this world and discovering things, you know, as a reader along with the crew for years and years. So you yourself feel like an explorer in your own right. You know what I mean? Um, and that's what I like about One Piece is it's just it takes you on this long ass journey, but you get to see the shit pay off. And I don't know, like yes, I understand the argument of like, oh, it's too long, but like, you know, if you want something that just like hits right and then and there, then One Piece isn't for you. But I think that isn't necessarily what it's trying to achieve. Maybe that's what it was trying to achieve in the beginning, which is why it felt pretty like the what do they call it? Like pre-time skip. Like it all feels pretty self-contained in this area of the world, but you know, come the second half, it blows the doors wide open, and that's where you know you're pushed into the new world. I don't know, man. It's just it's a journey and it's an experience, and I feel like people that read shonen a lot of times would just want fast-paced action. They want that shit to hit then and there, but just One Piece just isn't that. At least I don't think it is. Um, yeah, that's where I stand with One Piece. Like I really do enjoy it, and I understand the criticisms, but I don't know, man. I love it.
Yeah, I get what you're saying for sure. I just yeah, I don't know. One Piece just has such a stigma around it that people just think it's the greatest thing of all time, and I'm more than halfway through it, and I none of the arcs that I have read have been like insanely fucking good. Like One Piece isn't even in my top 10 like reads of all time.
Bro, Enos Lobby?
It's good, but it's only good because of the Luffy versus Lucci fight.
Bro, you're actually smoking crack. I won't even lie.
Uh
Bro,
it's good. I think like whenever they're going to Ennie's lobby is like pretty hype, but it's just
here.
like it like it doesn't compare like to me in my eyes like to compared to like the fucking Gohan versus fucking uh
Sell.
no, not Cell. It's a part after you haven't read
Oh.
Boo.
Oh.
Gohan versus Boo. Like I don't know. I enjoy One Piece. I just think that everything that I've read is like I don't like the first two arcs are all right. Like the first box set, it's okay. I think it's all right. And then Water 7 is all right. Annie's Lobby is like pretty good, I guess. But then like Skypiea is just fucking terrible. I did not like Skypiea at all. And then I read through Thriller Bark, which wasn't good either. And I'm like already thinking to myself, like, bro, I'm like 60 volumes into this fucking series. You know what I mean? Or not 60. I'm like 55 volumes into this series. You know, am I reading it just for the hype, or am I reading it because, like, am I waste? It just feels like I'm wasting my time whenever I'm not like so hot on it like other people, which I eventually will get around to reading it. I don't know, man. Like none of the arcs are like crazy because whenever you think of like Berserk, which is I guess an unfair comparison, but whenever you think of Berserk, you know what the fuck happens in the Conviction arc. You know what happens in the Golden Age. You know the fucking Black Swords. They're like famous arcs. And in the first 50 volumes, which is longer than Berserk in its entirety, longer than Toriko, longer than fucking One Punch Man, like longer than a lot of these fucking shonens, I just think it's like you have to be genuinely in love with one the world, two the characters, just to be able to fucking get through 50 plus volumes to it, just to get to the good shit. Because I know that people are like, hey, just get to New World, then it starts getting good.
Yeah,
It's like, do you know
70
what you're even
volumes
asking?
in.
Yeah, it's like 61 volumes into the series for it to get good. I think, like you're saying, it's definitely a mindset thing. You have to be ready to just go on this journey and go with the fucking Straw Hats. You know what I mean? Because there's a lot of filler. There's a lot of like bullshit that they fucking do, which it at the end of the day doesn't really, like I said, it's filler. It doesn't really add to the story too much. Other than like it just kind of fleshes out more of our Straw Hats, that as we know them. I just I, and I know, man. I'm sure that second half is fucking mind blowing. I'm sure, like um, you know, New World and all that crazy shit. I don't even know what the other arcs are even called. But I'm sure it gets crazy. I've seen some stuff that is nuts, but I, I want people to know that I don't hate One Piece. I like One Piece. It's just the fucking length is out of this fucking world. You know what I mean? Like it's like it's crazy. Like I said, you either have to be in love with the characters or the world to just totally be sucked into the world. And I like the characters and I like the world. It's just where I'm at. I'm like, man, I'd rather read something else.
Oh yeah, no, like again, I like it myself, but I completely understand the criticisms, and I do believe One Piece is overhyped, especially from people that say it's like the greatest thing ever made. Um, there's plenty. It has some pretty low lows, but I think for me at least, the heights that the highs take you make it worth it. Just at least for me personally, like when I'll take you on my like One Piece journey here, right? So I started with One Piece through the anime. I watched the show from the beginning all the way through like half of Skypiea, which is like what 250 episodes or something, like something stupid, right? Um but like the East Blue Saga, I didn't really care for. I was like, this like, are we getting somewhere? But by the end of the East Blue Saga, you get into the Arlong Park arc, and that was the first arc that I watched where One Piece didn't wasn't this like, I don't know, just kind of basic shonen, and it got pretty fucking dark, and like just the emotion behind that. Like I love the part at the end of the arc, the climax of the arc, when Nami is there like crying, and then she's about to like fucking like stab herself or whatever, and Luffy comes around and puts his hat on her head, and she's like, "Save me, Luffy!" Like she finally breaks down, and then he's like, "I got you, boo," pretty much, and then him and the whole gang fucking pull up on Arlong. Like the hype that I felt watching that, and like hearing the bum 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 bum,
Bum, bum.
yeah,
Yeah.
as the gang is just like slowly walking up to the castle or whatever. Bro, I lost my fucking mind. Like that part is so good, and that's where I was like, okay, One Piece maybe isn't as basic as I thought. So that's getting to that point again. I mean, 60 episodes in is where I was like, okay, I can get behind this. But then moving on, right, going into Alabasta. I mean, Alabasta, a lot of people love the Baroque Works saga and all of that shit. It was okay. I liked it. The ending was obviously the best part, where Luffy uses his fucking blood to beat the fuck out of Crocodile. Like that was cool. But that arc dragged, and then eventually Skypiea. I won't lie, Skypiea is pretty dog shit. Like especially the first half with like the Jaya stuff. I did not care for it, and the Skypiea was the reason why I dropped the One Piece anime, because I was like, dude, I can't watch another 100 episodes of this shit. So I dropped the anime from there, and I picked up the manga and just blazed through it. It was okay. The ending of Skypiea was the best part. Um, when he fought Eneru and all that stuff. Like that was cool. But the first like moment in One Piece that made me feel like how I did with Arlong Park was Enos Lobby. And like Water 7 as an arc was really cool. I enjoyed like all like the learning about the what do they call it? Um the secret agents and stuff that were like running around Water 7, all like the conspiracy stuff and
Yeah,
like
like Ichi and shit like that. He's like the ice guy. Remember, he like
oh,
freezes over the whole sea and shit.
yes. Yeah, where he has the bicycle.
Yeah.
The Aokiji. Yeah. Uh
Aokiji, yeah.
him but like what do they call it? The group that Lucci is a part of, like the secret agents that work for the
Oh, CP9, whatever they're called.
yeah, something like that. Um all that stuff is really interesting and then you've got Robin who ends up going off and like disappearing pretty much and going on her whole thing. But then like the hype of them like getting to Enos Lobby and then they finally get there and then you have that scene where the Straw Hats are on top of like the building or the wall or whatever.
That part is pretty fucking sick. He's all Soldier King, shoot the flag. And he fuck.
Dude,
Yeah, that part is pretty hype.
and like when you think about what he's doing, right? Like it just puts into
Declaring
perspective
war
he's declaring war on the
on
entire
the government.
fucking world, bro. Like for his one crewmate. It just like goes to show you like how much Luffy, how far he's able to go for the people he loves and cares about. And like that shit blew my mind. That's one of my favorite scenes in all of manga and anime and possibly even fiction. Like I love that scene, man. Um and that dude, and then the fights that happen. But then moving away from Enies Lobby, you got Thriller Bark, which was okay. What?
No, I'm laughing at the whole Sanji versus that one girl. Remember that?
Oh,
Remember that
with the
scene?
soap.
Yeah, fuck, that scene is so funny where he's like all in love with her, and then fucking I think Nami comes and saves him,
Yeah,
and
well,
she's like, "You idiot! What the fuck are you doing?"
yeah.
Yeah,
The
no, I like One Piece a lot. I just think that I guess the point I was trying to make is that there's the fuck um there is other shonen that do get the whole world building and the whole badassery and the power scaling better than One Piece, and doesn't take away the fact that One Piece is sick. It's literally an uh, it's like I've never seen it, but like Lord of the Rings, it's like a fucking massive overarching fucking journey of like your party of people. You know what I mean? Which it is the longest over. I mean, JoJo's is longer than One Piece in Japan,
yeah.
but it's
Is it?
still like it is. I think Baki and JoJo's are longer than One Piece in Japan.
And what is Ippo too?
Yeah, Hajime no Ippo I think is as well. I'm not too sure on that, but I'm almost certain that Baki and JoJo's are longer than One Piece. I could fact check that really quick, but I didn't mean to cut you off.
No,
Continue
it's
what
all
you were
good.
saying. Yeah.
No, like I don't like. I guess I'm just what I'm saying in like a really roundabout way is that there are like a lot of parts of One Piece that are just kind of okay and they're like good. They're still fun reads, um, but you make it to those really high highs and I feel like I don't know, man. You have to read through the more tedious stuff. You have to read through the some of the more boring stuff for the really good stuff to have a bigger impact in comparison, I guess. And it makes those really high highs stand out a lot more. And not only that, but the slower bits do introduce little bits of world building and introduce small things that do end up paying off later. And just yeah, I don't know. I'm not gonna go through the all of the arcs of One Piece. Um, but yeah, I guess that's just the point I'm trying to make. Is it's not for everybody, but I guess you have to.
I am gonna read it. And I am gonna buy that box set, of course. But whenever it comes out, it's just that's the argument that I was trying to make is that there are other shonen that that get the one like the world building and like I said the power scaling better than One Piece in the smaller like way smaller um like way. But like just talking about like the moments like in One Piece like there are some really fucking badass moments. Like especially like that part where Lucci and fucking Luffy both fucking and
Oh
they're
yeah,
both in their fucking gear form. The first time you see Luffy turn gear, like gear 2, gear 3,
yeah, with his
um
fist on the ground and like
yeah,
he has all
and
the
it's all
steam.
steam and shit. Yeah. Fucking amazing. And like yeah, man, I think One Piece is awesome. I just the length, it's like it's hard to ask someone to fucking get into One Piece whenever you have like the moments we're talking about are literally like 50 to 100 episodes within each of those fucking moments, which is crazy. And I think even the Kaido versus Luffy fight is the longest anime fight in history. I think it's like 60, 70 episodes long
For one fight.
for one fight. I think my buddy Luke told me yesterday that it was 80 something episodes long. Like it's the longest anime fight in history.
Dude, that's crazy. I didn't know that.
Yeah, like fucking, he's telling me that fuck. Yeah, well, I won't spoil it because I know that you haven't gotten there yet. But yeah, there's some. That fight is nuts, and I hope. That's the thing. That's the crazy thing is that the pacing in the manga is like way better than it is in One Piece, the anime.
Well, then again, the anime is like a product of its time, and
Yeah, yeah,
I mean, one thing I am grateful for. I don't watch the anime anymore, but one of the things they're going back and they're fixing it up. They're doing like that new One Piece that's gonna like
yeah. Like
that's
a
gonna like
remake.
yeah, like a remake. But not only that, but the current anime is pretty fucking cool. I've seen clips from it, and they definitely stepped up their game with the pacing, and now they're officially making it like seasonal instead of like every week. You know.
Yeah,
So it's the pacing and everything is going to be a lot better moving forward, and it's going to look a lot better too.
yeah. So there is a lot of series that are longer than One Piece, but the ones that we were talking about, Baki the Grappler is 151 plus volumes. Uh, the one that we were talking about, it's called it's a series that I wanted to get serialized in America, but it's called Ultimate Muscle, but it's called Kinnikuman. Uh that's 145 volumes. Hajime no Ippo is 145 volumes. JoJo's is 140 volumes. So yeah, there's a lot of series that are longer than One Piece, but still, I mean, I would probably have the same gripes that I do with those series. They're just too long, you know what I mean? That's the one. That's the only exception is JoJo's because they're different. Like a Steel Ball Run that's coming out in America right now. It's completely set in a different. Wait, is it Steel Ball Run?
Yeah,
No. I know it's there's a part in JoJo's. I think it is Steel Ball Run that
where
it takes place completely in a different like dimension or a different timeline than
yeah.
actual. It's Steel Ball Run, right?
So at the so at the end of part 6, the entire universe gets reset, and so part 7
Mhm.
picks up at the like it basically is a mirror of part 1. Like it goes back to the beginning, but it's like an alternate timeline.
Mm,
And then yeah, so parts 7, 8, and 9 are part of this like alternate timeline.
See, so that's like my only exception is the fact that each part in JoJo's is kind of like a Final Fantasy where it's new set of characters, new world setting, and a new quest. You know what I mean? So I think JoJo's definitely gets the pass on that one for me. It's still long no matter what, but it's hard with One Piece whenever you finish an arc without having the urge to want to read something else. You know what I mean? It's and that's the cool thing about One Piece though is that the arcs do make it a lot easier to drop or not drop, but like set it aside, let the fucking volumes cook, let the chapters cook, read something else, and then get back into it whenever you're feeling a little piratey. But
Right.
yeah, yeah, One Piece is cool, man. I just the length is killer, man. The length is killer.
Yeah. No, I definitely understand that. Yeah, I mean the gripes with One Piece are not lost on me. I love it, but I'm not one of those people that say it's the greatest thing, uh, since bread. You know what I mean, or since the wheel.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
because some people are really like that, man. Like One Piece is awesome. I love it, but dude, yeah. And you could even make the same argument with something like I feel like for American comics, Invincible. Like a lot of people are the same way about Invincible as they are in One Piece, and I love Invincible. It's one of my favorite comics ever. But there is a lot of little details and aspects that just, there are critiques and there are things that don't work about it. But some people are like, it's amazing, and it's great.
It really, Invincible is long for sure. Don't get me wrong. It's not as long as The Walking Dead. Um, but Invincible, like, it's the whole One Piece thing, right? Like Invincible, you get that halfway point, and you're like, dude, I'm in. I'm totally fucking in. This is amazing. Which
Right.
that's exactly how I felt with Invincible. Unfortunately, I'm not there just yet with One Piece. I'm not even halfway. I'm like I said, I'm on volume like I'm in Sabo Odi right now. I'm in volume 55.
Saba Odi is dope, though. I won't lie. I really like Saba Odi. That's a good ass arc.
Yeah, 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 for sure. And I like how Invincible is. They're kind of the same, not the same, but they're like in a way. Invincible really didn't start picking up for me until the middle. Like
Like
seriously, like
Conquest.
exactly. It was until the Conquest battle. I thought the whole Invincible War was really cool as well. Um,
Well, the
but
the
it still
Invincible
wasn't.
War is very much almost like a prelude to the Conquest stuff,
ex-
anyway.
Yeah, 100%. Because it's like Mark goes through all that shit within a day. He fights the fucking all the Invincibles, and then as he's rebuilding the fucking town, your boy shows up and fucking puts the beat down.
I think I think a good comparison would be like Saba Odi and Impel Down are almost like, and Saba Odi and Impel Down into the Paramount War are like the Invincible War into Conquest.
Mm. And keep in mind that's like 60 fucking books in the fucking series. So I think One Piece is cool. It has a lot of pre New World stuff that is fucking awesome, like the uh no, not it's Ace versus Blackbeard. Ace versus Blackbeard is a fucking amazing battle as well where yeah,
Well,
the
most of
battles
that battle is off page anyway, which sucks. Like,
no, they show well, I had a misprint on my volume where it showed that chapter at the very beginning of my volume. And I was like,
oh,
oh shit, we're gonna see it at the end. And then it retold the entire thing at the end, and then I realized that it was a complete misprint on my end. So I
huh.
ended up reading it on the app. But I'm pretty sure I know that there is a little bit off camera, like off, off page, but they do show a good grip like of it towards the end of that volume that they do meet.
Hmm.
Um like with Ace fucking escaping and shit like that, and then like him like fucking throwing his fire into the water, and it like totally splits the fucking um like
Maybe
the
I'll
water and
have to
stuff
go
like that.
back and reread that because what the way that I remember it was like it has the battle, and then like you're like, oh, they're gonna battle, and then they don't show any, and then later on you hear, yeah, he got his ass whooped, and I was like, oh. But I guess I'm wrong. I guess I misremember it.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff. I haven't read One Piece in a couple of years at this point, but I just talking about it makes me want to kind of. I'm right there, man. I'm right at the part that I want to be at, which is New World. You know what I mean? Where they're kind of older and stuff like that. They get their all of them get their power ups, if you will. I'm right there, man, and I'm at a very, very, very good fucking part, which is Impel Down, Paramount War, and all that good stuff. Which I even talking about it makes me want to go back. It's just it's so fucking long,
I'll be
even
honest.
halfway through.
Yeah, I don't know if this is a hot take, but Impel Down to me is a better arc than the Paramount War itself. Like
That is a hot take.
I
I
I
I, I know that.
I like the Paramount War, but what it felt like was just a whole lot of fan service without a whole ton of substance. Like you get all of the warlords showing up. You got all the admirals. Like, there's just a whole lot of big names and big faces everywhere. And of course, you've got the stuff with Ace. That's crazy. But it almost feels like it's just too much, and to the point where Whitebeard's there too. All the crazy Whitebeard stuff. Like, it's cool. There's a lot of cool people happening, but there's not a whole lot of like. I feel like a lot of it gets glossed over because if you read it, Luffy is just kind of running from point A to point B, and a lot of the book or the arc is just him kind of jumping over these fights and like just trying to, like, it doesn't focus on like 1v1s between characters. It's just Luffy kind of running past them, and you see these characters fighting. You know, it just felt like a whole lot of fan service without it elaborating much on what was like actually happening. You know what I mean? If that makes sense.
Yeah, I think the point of One Piece is like what Kirkman was trying to do with The Walking Dead. Like The Walking Dead was forever going to start following Rick Grimes until the very end, where you don't follow Rick Grimes anymore. You know what I mean? I think all One Piece is, all Ichiro Oda is trying to do is just trying to, I mean, like you said at the beginning of this fucking conversation, like, you're on this crew with the Straw Hats. You're a Straw Hat. You know what I mean? So I think instead of it being like, you know, like a lot of shonens, I feel like do this, where especially like things like Bleach and like Naruto, especially Naruto, where they're focusing a lot on 1v1s of people you don't even know who the fuck they are. Like at like, you know, at you know at like hindsight, you don't know who these characters are, but everyone's like, oh, these guys like fucking are battling, it's so sick. It's like One Piece is very laser focused on just having you follow the Straw Hats, Luffy especially, or like how, like I said with Kirkman and Rick Grimes, like it's very much hyper focused on you just following that one specific thing. So I definitely get what you're saying, where you wish it was like, you know, I haven't read the Paramount War myself, but I'm sure it's like this guy versus this guy, and you actually want to see it. But Ichiro Oda is just trying to get you where he wants to take you with the Straw Hats. You know what I mean? It's like I totally get what you mean, which I'm pretty sure I'd probably be in that same boat as well, wanting to see all these 1v1s happening and shit like that. But yeah, he Ichiro Oda, I'm sure, is trying to just do the whole Kirkman thing where he's just trying to follow Rick Grimes through every single part.
Well, it doesn't help either that, I mean, this isn't really a spoiler, uh, but Luffy is the only Straw Hat that's actually there.
Oh wow.
Something happens. When is that? I guess something happens in at the end of Sabaody, where all of them get split up, and they don't reunite. The Straw Hats don't reunite until the New World. Like,
Mm.
so for a solid, I don't know, 15 volumes, it's just Luffy for the most part. Like, you don't
Mm.
have any of the other Straw Hats. Like, you get a few panels here and there that show you what the other Straw Hats are doing on their own. But, like, as far as what's, like, actually happening in the plot, it's just Luffy that you're following for, like, a solid 15 volumes up until the very beginning of the New World with the time skip, and they come back together after like 2.5 years. Um, but yeah, so with
I
that,
like that. That's cool. I think that's fucking actually pretty cool, man.
yeah, I mean, no, it's really cool. But the point that I'm trying to make though is that because Luffy is the only Straw Hat there in the war, like if the other Straw Hats were there, then I'm sure you would see a lot more of those fights because just like in Enies Lobby or like with any of the other arcs, each of the Straw Hats are kind of paired up against somebody and they're like fighting, and
Yeah.
you would get that, but you just have Luffy on this kind of like single like one track mind, just get to Ace, and he's just running, and you kind of he's laser focused, and you kind of block out all of the cool shit that's actually happening. You know what I mean? Um, but yeah, no, I still think the Paramount War is cool. It's just not nearly as cool as Impel Down, and Impel Down had a lot riding on it too because they're on a time crunch trying to get the Ace, and so there's just very high stakes of Impel Down trying to bust out of there. It's like a jailbreak kind of arc, and they're all working together. It's fucking awesome. And just like the emotion and the stakes writing on it, and then you finally get to like the climax, and then it's just kind of like, you know what I mean? Like it almost didn't live up to its own hype, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, no, I hear you. Yeah. I we can move on after this, but I just want everyone to know I do enjoy One Piece. I really do. It's the length, and I'm sure if you enjoy One Piece too, I'm sure you think the length is a little bit too long at times. But
Yeah,
whenever you're in it, you're in it. You're in it to win it type shit. And I think like I said, man, earlier, I just the conversation around One Piece every time I talked about it, whether it's with you, Luke, or my IRL buddies that watch it as well. Like it every single fucking time it makes me want to read it and continue because I'm right there. I'm in Sabaody and I got Impel Down and then the Paramount War and then New World breaks out, which I I'm through with all the beginning shit, which I'm not really too big of a fan of. Which there are some really cool parts in there. But yeah, I every time I talk about it, I want to jump right back into it, which with the current continuity that's happening in One Piece right now, there's some fucking crazy shit that I see online, man. All the time, there's some wild shit that happens, and I feel like we're getting in the end game, man. We're getting into the end game of One Piece. I hope. You know what I
yeah,
mean? I really do feel like we're getting towards you know, we're gonna start seeing some resolutions, you know what I mean, happening in the story of One Piece. We're gonna start and I hope, man, I really hope it will be emotional and it will be fucking awesome, but I really do hope the One Piece is like a treasure and not just like a
the friends we
portrait
made
of
along the way.
yeah, that's exactly. I really even though it would be like I would probably shed a fucking tear if that's what it was out of just pure like this was the journey, this was the point is the friends that we made along the way, you know what
Unless
I mean?
Luffy is the One Piece.
See, I just think the whole name of it in itself, like the One Piece, is almost telling that it is, you know, your crew is one piece. You know what I mean? Like your
Mm,
entire, all the friends you made along the way, the way you are the one piece of adventure. You know what I mean? Like it's as much as I don't want it to be that, and as much as I would rather have like take the whole greed route and want to see some like treasure and they get like a fucking golden island or something like that, I'm pretty sure that it's going to be something along the lines of like the friends we made along the way, which still to me is extremely emotional and impactful as well because you've been on this journey with them for let's assume 35 years whenever it ends. You know what I mean? Like it's you were there with them all throughout it and you like you're a part of the crew as well. I think that is very a cool way, but I just I don't want to be right.
right. Dude, I've heard some crazy theories about. I mean, One Piece is one of those ones where people are always having theories and stuff. But one of
Yeah.
the cooler ones that I heard, and last thing before we move on from One Piece and manga and stuff, but one
Mhm.
of the coolest ones I heard was that the One Piece could refer to like something that allows all of the continents and islands and stuff to come together into like one supercontinent and like just like uniting the world, you know, and just like bringing it all together. I heard that, and that's a really cool
It's a
theory.
fucking cool theory. That could happen as well. You know what I mean? Like Luffy was the one that brought end to war and
Right.
made everyone peace again.
Yeah.
That's a great
That's the
theory too,
idea of the
man.
theory. I thought that was super sick.
Yeah, that's a fucking awesome theory. And yeah, and who would fucking who would be not who would do it other than fucking Luffy? It's Luffy, man. You know what I mean? Like he's the most outgoing, even though he is an idiot, man. I can't stand Luffy sometimes in the manga,
It's
but
fucking funny though. Let's be
yeah, he is
honest.
funny. But it's like, bro, you're a captain. Come on now, let's have a little more fucking you know integrity with your fucking crew. You know what I mean? Like, bro's just straight up sailing him into death at most of the time. It's like
Yeah.
he's always down, which I mean which might even make him the best fucking pirate captain there ever was in One Piece. But yeah. Anyway, enough One Piece talk.
The will of
I could
D,
just keep talking
bro.
about One Piece. Yeah, we could talk about One Piece all day, even though I do have my gripes with it. It's still fucking awesome. I still really do enjoy it. I guess we can move on to what we have currently been reading because, like I said in the beginning of the episode, I haven't really been reading much other than my weekly pulls and a little bit of Berserk. Which, don't worry, guys, I'm gonna finish Berserk this coming weekend, and we'll probably have what either Sunday or Monday to film it. Um,
Something like that, yeah.
but yeah, I will get it done. Don't worry. I'm just kind of I'm not a slow reader. I'm just a gamer, man. I love the gaming and shit like that, and but don't worry, man. I'll be on that shit, and I have been reading my weekly pulls, and I do have some thoughts on the 4 books that I did pull this week. And I do have more books that I disliked than I liked, and I know that me and Luke are gonna be able to have a conversation about one book in particular that he is very hot on that I am not so hot on, and I don't even know why. I guess maybe you could change my mind or I don't know. We'll talk about it whenever we get to it. But what have you been reading, man? I know you have been knocking out book after book after book. I've seen that fucking Comic Geeks, man. It's been insane. It's been fucking insane.
Dude, I don't know what it was, man. Cause like after Watchmen, I know I talked about this briefly on our last episode, but our last episode was mainly chopping it up with JS, so I didn't get to elaborate as much. But after Watchmen, man, I was like in a slump, man. Like it had me slumped. I won't even lie. But then I read Conviction for Berserk, bro. I knocked out a deluxe edition a day, essentially. Like over the course of 3 days, blew through it, man. And one of the things that I do that helps a lot is during the week when I go to school. I go to school. I leave the house about an hour, sometimes an hour and a half early, and I just sit at a picnic table and wait for my class to start, and then just read. And so that helps me knock out a ton. Um, but yeah, no, I've just been doing that and knocked out Berserk, and then the Conviction arc just made me like really hot on manga again. Like, I wanted to read some of the manga that I've had sitting, so I read Tower Dungeon, which was fucking fantastic. Loved that, and I have a review out for that, like a 3 volume rule episode that I did. Um, so that was a highlight, and then another highlight for me is I've been reading the Bendis Daredevil run, and that has been fantastic so far. Like it reminds me a lot of the Daredevil show. It's dark, it's gritty, it's dude. I don't want to even give too much away because I know one of these days, bro, you've got to read some Daredevil. But this run is unlike any of the other Daredevil books that I've read. Uh, it's it's it reads extremely well, like the crime and the corruption, like all of that. You at some parts you follow some of these gangsters as they're talking about like taking control over different areas of New York and like out with the old, in with the new, and talking about like how their men don't respect them, so they like turn on each other, and just all of the crime side of things, and then how Daredevil plays into it. And there's some stuff where this isn't a big spoiler, because it's kind of like the main point of this run, but Daredevil's secret identity gets leaked into the press, because someone like this informant goes to the feds, and the feds are like, all right, we have this information, but Matt Murdock, Daredevil, he's done a lot of good for this city, so we're not going to do anything with this. This information stays in this room. And one of the feds, he's like itching for cash, so he has that, and then he sells his identity to one of these newspapers, and now everybody knows that Matt Murdock is Daredevil. And so he's like, what the fuck? And him being a lawyer, he has to like
Yeah.
deny it, and there's all these court cases around him trying to protect who he is. And you've got these characters like even Peter Parker, who is good friends with Matt Murdock. He steps up and like goes to the one of the like the newspaper places. I think he goes to the Daily Bugle where he used to work, obviously, and he's like, yeah, I know who he is. I'm friends with him, but he's not Matt Murdock. Just like covering for him, and you get to see some Spider-Man too. Just like, and you can, I don't know, man. It's just fucking awesome. I love the dialogue. Brian Michael Bendis is one of the best dialogue like writers, especially for Marvel. Like, it's just been fantastic. So I've been reading that, um, and then what else? I'll be honest, man. This is gonna throw you for a loop here, but I've been wanting to get back into reading novels too, like outside of comics and manga. Uh, I don't know, man. I've been reading some philosophy stuff, which I've been trying to get my brain up a little bit, and I'm trying to study history like for school and for a career. So I'm about to start reading this book about Genghis Khan. Uh, so I mean, I've been trying to read some other shit outside of comics and manga too, but yeah, I've just been reading so much, man. I don't know. I just have this new like drive, I guess.
Yeah, I I I wish I had the same drive, man. It takes it takes a series to really grab me. Um, for me to really see it through to the end. Like obviously like The Walking Dead, Invincible, and Geiger, stuff like that. But other series, man, like it's not even that I've tried. I mean, I guess with Immortal Hulk, man, I don't know. Something about it just wasn't grabbing me the way I wanted it to. I guess it was maybe the way Al Ewing tells his stories, where it's kind of, I guess, not straightforward, if you will.
You were
I don't
really
know.
hot on it for a while.
Yeah, I was. But trying to get back into it, I don't know what it is, man. I yeah, I don't know what it is. Like I said, I wish I had that drive like you do. I guess I just haven't found that series, or anything like that that really is like pushing me to read more and more and more and more. I I've been really enjoying Berserk though. It's been really cool to reread or revisit that whole section that I really fell in love with in Berserk. There's just some shit in it that I like it in the Conviction arc, not the Lost Children, because the Lost Children is pretty self, forward, straightforward rather. But the Conviction arc, and I'm sure you can agree that like the whole egg of the perfect world
That was
section,
confusing.
very fucking confusing and very out there.
I didn't. We could talk about it more, but I didn't know what the fuck was going on. I won't lie.
Yeah, and it's extremely fucking important for the next arc. Like, is very fucking important.
I'm dying to talk about it with you, but I don't want to give away too much of my thoughts or theories yet. Um,
Yeah, yeah, we'll film that episode this coming up weekend, because I'll obviously be able to blaze through it in one sitting if I just really sit down and involve myself in that world. But yeah, that section was the section that I was alluding to in the Black Swordsman. That there are sections in the book where you're like, what? You know what I mean? You're like, what the fuck is this? And then he, swallows the fucking, you know, the fetus, the Casca fetus.
and then
It's
turns into uh someone.
yeah, it's weird. It's a weird part, but it very fucking important. And I still, like I said, like
Is it
whenever we were having our
explained?
Black Swords, kinda, not really. It's just kind of like a a door that was opened is the way I look at it. For because I'm trying to remember even what you're talking about, where he turns into. You could spoil it. I mean,
Basically, the little egg guy swallows the fetus, which is the child of
yeah,
uh, Guts, Casca, and Griffith, technically, right?
yeah, uh-huh.
And he swallows it, and it transforms him into Griffith. Griffith is reborn as a human, essentially.
How does the arc end? I thought that was in. Because what volume does it end in? Like 19?
Uh, 18? 1, 2,
Oh,
3,
I thought it
4,
was
5,
21.
6. Oh shit! No, yeah,
Oh yeah, it's like 21.
yeah, because book 7. Yeah, so 21. Yes,
Oh,
sorry.
that's right. It does happen at the very end. Yeah, dude. Because fuck that whole section where fucking Skull Knight fucking points off like Void at the very be. Do you remember that part in the Black Swordsman arc where Void points to the Void and he's like fucking pointing? It's exactly the same way Skull Knight points to fucking Griffith whenever he gets reborn.
Dude. We're just gonna have to talk about it next weekend.
Yeah, for sure. Because like I said, I haven't read the arc in a long time, and I forgot. I thought that part. That's right. Because the. I don't know how you haven't continued, man. Honestly, because the fucking Falcon of the Millennium Empire arc continues right fucking. It's like a
Dude,
direct
and he flies
continuation,
off into the distance, riding Zod.
dude. Oh, it's so fucking good. Yeah.
Dude, the face that I made, you know that meme of the Behelit where it's like
Yeah.
that was dead ass my face when I finished that arc. Like,
Bro.
Conviction blew my fucking mind, dude.
Conviction is like really like it, dude. It's like the catalyst of it like totally launches you into the world of fucking Berserk like after, because it's like after that is where some real fucking, I mean, Conviction is where some crazy shit fucking happens with like the artificial eclipse and shit like that. And
See, that's see, that's one of the things that I was wondering about too, because it's like that shit. They were talking about it like it was another eclipse that was gonna happen, but it wasn't. You know, like
yeah, it wasn't. It was like your theory, like I don't even know the theory. Your theory never gets answered, but it's like it's almost a way for Griffith to complete his, full sacrifice, which he still needs to fucking kill Guts and Casca to completely
right.
turn over himself to the fucking God Hand. You know what I mean? Like his full sacrifice wasn't complete, so it's like almost as if he's influencing these
He's like
evil spirits.
halfway. He's in this
Yeah,
halfway. Yeah.
he's like influencing these evil spirits to cause a makeshift eclipse so that he can kind of complete his sacrifice. But it's still Griffith is in this weird gray area where he's not fully a demon yet or a member of the God Hand yet until he completes his thing. So he's like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going back as a fucking human. I'm gonna fucking kill everybody. You know what I mean? So it's the story of Berserk is on another level, man. I think it's fucking awesome. But we don't have to talk about it. We'll save it for this Sunday because me and you are definitely gonna have a fucking some good shit to talk about this coming Sunday or Monday.
Dude, that's gonna be an episode, bro.
Oh fuck yeah!
I'm very excited for that episode.
And then Luca, my favorite character in all of Berserk. Do you remember Luca?
The prostitute?
Yeah, no, I'm just kidding, guys.
Was that the main one? Or
No,
was it
yeah, that's the main one. Nina is the one that you're
Oh,
thinking of, right?
yeah,
The
yeah, yeah,
curly haired.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Dude, she's a
That is the
crazy bitch, bro.
hate that fucking character, dude.
Dude,
One of the worst characters in all of Berserk, in my opinion.
the cave,
Yeah, yeah, dude. Where they're fucking stabbing people and shit. It's
bro.
like, what the fuck?
You know
Yeah,
who?
that part's great.
You know who was introduced though that I absolutely love
Who?
is Cedro.
Oh, Isidro is cool, but the one thing I don't like about Isidro is that he is basically another Huck or have you met what's her name? The other fairy?
No, not yet.
No?
The pink one?
Yeah, the pink one with like the hair and shit like that.
No.
Yeah,
The
okay,
girl
well
puck.
yeah, the girl Puck. Yeah, yeah.
That's a
Isidro is
little bit
cool,
later.
right? Yeah, that is a little bit later, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, Isidro is cool because you can kind of tell that he is like he looks up to Guts, but he doesn't know anything about him or where he comes from, what he's been through and shit like that. And it I like Conviction a lot, man, because you get introduced to so many fucking like mainstay characters like um Farnese, Serpico,
Dude.
Sidro.
Yeah,
It's a banger arc, man. I'm
Farnese,
telling you,
bro.
Farnese is a fucking freak ass bitch.
Bro, actually though, dude.
What'd you think about that horse scene?
Bro, dude, the horse scene was crazy. It didn't quite get to where I thought it was going to. The part that was crazier to me was when she's like on top of the dragon slayer and she's like under like the mind
Bruh,
control and she's like
that she's
telling him
like
to
grinding on her. I was like, what the fuck?
she was like
Yeah, that part,
she was telling Guts to like split her in half or whatever. I was like,
bro. Yeah, that part is fucking insane, bro. And then
wow.
she fucking snap. Yeah, we'll talk about it because I this is the reactions that I wanted for the episode. But yeah,
Yeah.
we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it whenever the time comes.
Yeah,
Let's
it's
move
so
on
it's
to.
so hard to not talk about it.
It is though, man, because it's peak.
It's
It's
so
peak.
good.
It's fucking peak. And just wait, dude. It's gonna get even fucking better. Which I hope you're ready for that heartbreak, man. I hope you're ready for that heartbreak that is fucking the end of it.
Yeah, yeah.
But anyway, guys, I guess we can move on to what I've read for the pools. I haven't read too much stuff. I've read Final Boss was a series that you got me into. Not immediately, but it was one series that I wanted to get into, but it was already too late past the first issue. Um, and then they came out with a reprint of issue number 1 of Final Boss. And then it had that sweet, excuse me, it had that sweet Ryan Otley cover. And you know me, guys, I'm a big Invincible guy. I love the Otley art, and I had to pick it up. Just not off the cover itself, but purely because of your recommendation and my love for fighting games like Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, Tekken, Dragon Ball Fighters, stuff like that. I love fighting games. And it was purely off your recommendation and purely off my love for fighting games. So I picked it up, read issue number 1, absolutely fell in love with it. I thought it was fucking awesome. I thought the whole it is truly a love letter to 80s fighting games like Mortal Kombat, Tekken, Street Fighter. I don't even think Tekken was out in the 80s actually, but it is truly just a love letter to 80s media, if you will, because even there's a in issue 3, I'm not even there yet, which I've read it, but I'm not there yet and talking about it. There's a whole like reference to the merchant in Resident Evil 4.
Oh,
Like, what are you
sick.
buying? So yeah, there's like a whole guy that says that whole line, calls him a stranger and stuff like that, which I thought was fucking awesome. But yeah, so Final Boss started off crazy strong, an oversized first issue. The battle between that him and that chain guy, um, the literal fatality at the end, it is way more
Yeah, dude.
brutal and way more gory than I would have ever fucking imagined. It's an image book, of course, so you would expect some, some blood and stuff like that, but whoa. We're talking some like Berserk levels of guts being ripped out and, people being fucking sliced in fucking half. Awesome series, but I will say, man, uh issue 2 wasn't nearly as good as 1, but I gave it a pass because it was definitely a setup issue. um it's more or less kind of like an Incredibles like way where he gets a call from this guy, and the guy's like, if you want to compete in this tournament, you got to come down to this island and shit like that, and the main character's like, yeah, fuck it, I'll go. So he packs up his shit, takes his buddy, and they're off to go to this island, and that's where issue 2 wraps up. Issue 3 continues with them on the island. And guys, I got to be honest, man, issue 3 was not it. Not it. It was terrible. It wasn't terrible, but it was bad. Like, it was really bad. I did not like it at all. It felt like the story was being told. It felt like we skipped. Like, whoever the writer is of it, he's a cool guy. I actually watched a small little interview of him with him
Tyler
and this other.
Kirkham, right?
Yeah, Tyler Kirkham. Yeah, he. I don't know what he was thinking whenever he was writing this third issue, but we're basically in the middle of this island, and then literally next page it just says fucking whatever the main character's name is versus this guy. It was like totally abrupt out of nowhere, and the fight was building up kind of this pighead guy to be a badass fucking fighter and shit like that. And within 2 pages of the fight beginning, it ends just as abruptly as it started. It totally sucked me out of the experience. I thought it was fucking weird. It was really short, and yeah, the way he was telling the story in the third issue was just not it, man. I don't know what changed, but I'll give it another pass, man, because the art is still cool and it has a lot of video game references in it. But man, the way it's like two completely different writers from issue number 1 to issue number 3. Like it's not even on the same universe type shit. It's complete. It feels so different, and I'm sure you would even be able to notice it, Luke, because it just feels abrupt and weird and out of left fucking field, out of nowhere whenever that fight happens in this tournament. And there's no build up, there's no lore building, there's no world building, because there's some pretty sweet world building with like the main character's grandfather and how he found the amulet for him and stuff like that.
Yeah.
There's absolutely none of that, and I want you. I wish you have read it, because I know you would totally get where I'm coming from. Even whenever I was reading the Comic Geeks reviews, a lot of people felt the same way, and I'm usually one to kind of have my own opinions and stuff like that. I'm not really influenced by hype too much when it comes to comics. But even after I flipped it and I text in the Discord, I said, yeah, that newest issue wasn't it, man. And I went and looked at the reviews, and people were on the same page and with the exact same thoughts as I did, with the way it felt
Interesting.
out of place and abrupt. But that's pretty much my thoughts. I'm gonna keep it on the pool because I do enjoy the battles on it. But if if it keeps on going like how issue 3 was, man, I gotta drop it, man. It's that last issue was not it. And then continuing on, I read Spinbreaker volume or issue number 6 or something like that, 5 or 6, and I thought it was alright. I thought it was pretty cool. It was a lot better than the last issue, because I did not like the way the last issue ended. But then again, I feel like Robert Kirkman is giving this artist, which I don't know the artist by heart.
David
He's
Finch.
just Yeah, David Finch. Yeah, he's just giving David Finch an excuse to draw cool shit, which I'm all here for because the art is fucking awesome. I think it's some of the coolest, most captivating art that I have in that short box right there, or even in comics that I haven't even collected editions. Besides like Jim Lee, I think it has the most pop, like in the color. The colorist is an absolute talented individual, but Finch also has such good fucking art, like artistry. It's insane. Every single panel to me is like a painting, and I love the design of these like kind of aliens or whatever you want to call them, like orcs or something, whatever you want to call them. They're it's just this, like I said, man. After issue 4, I realized that the story was just not for me. I'm here and I'm buying it monthly just be purely because of David Finch's art and the colorist, whatever their name may be. Um, but the story is just not it, and I'm actually kind of ready for it to wrap up, because I don't haven't been able to see where this story is going in the past 3 or 4 issues. Um, but it's still, the art is still holding me there, which is saying a lot, because I know you, out of all people, Luke, know that they gotta grip me somehow. You know what I mean? They gotta grip me with either it's the story, the characters, the world building, and now that I'm proving to you, the art. Yeah, let's hope that it gets better. But with only 2 issues left in this little mini series, I don't think it's gonna get much better, in my opinion. I just kind of think that I think this is Robert Kirkman's weakest stuff that he's written. In my opinion, I haven't read, a lot of his shit other than Invincible and The Walking Dead, but it doesn't even hold a candlelight to either. Not even close. But like I said, the David Finch art is still fantastic. Moving on to the other book that I read this week, which I actually did really fucking enjoy, which I was very, 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 very surprised that it reeled me back in, because around issue 5 or 6, I was not hot on this series, man. I was really like, all right, man, if this doesn't start picking up within the next issue, I'm 100% dropping this. And it's Fantastic Four, the new Fantastic Four run. The issue before the one I'm about to talk about, really, it didn't. fully grip me back into the story, but it alluded to Galactus at the end of it, and I was like, oh shit, here we go. We're gonna start getting into some Galactus, intergalactic, maybe Black Bolt might be introduced back into the story and stuff like that. So you know what? I'll pick up the next issue, and man, I am glad I did because this was probably my favorite read of the week, which is crazy to say, but I very much did enjoy it, even though it did feel like a side story in a way, where you got the Fantastic Four getting ready to go off into space, and they basically prepare their children and all their like class kids that they're teaching to become superheroes. They equip them with like an Iron Man suit and stuff like that. Like they equip them with a bunch of different stuff that they can defend Earth if they have to. And it's really cool. There's a fucking badass cameo where the Fantastic Four, they go off into space, and that's the last we see them of this issue. But the kids start getting invaded by these like alien type things, and I thought it was really cool because um, Franklin Richards calls in some backup, and it's fucking Wolverine. And
Oh,
I thought,
sick.
me, I love Wolverine, and Wolverine started fucking totally demolishing all these fucking aliens, and I was like, man, that was a fucking great issue, and it kind of left a cliffhanger with the Fantastic Four flying off into space to go confront Galactus, the Silver Surfer, whoever it may be. So they totally reeled me back in, man, and I'm not fully 100% there. I would say I'm about 80% there, but man, I can't wait to see what happens in the next issue. And which brings me to my last issue, man, which I'm not too hot on. I don't think
Here
it's
we go.
nearly as good as a lot of people say, and I can kind of explain why, but I don't understand why I am not too hot on it than other
Before you
people's.
before you say that, Cameron, before you I just want to say that with that issue, looking back, I was just super hyped, you know? I would rate it a little bit lower than what cuz I gave it 5 stars, but in all reality, looking back and like without the hype around it, I would probably give it like 4.
Yeah, five is whenever see, and that's another problem that I had with this issue. And if you guys don't already know what this issue is, it's gonna be. Let me just grab it really quick because I usually like to give a little visual
Did
representation of what
did you
I.
get the A cover or did you get the other one?
No, I wanted to get the other one, but they didn't have any, and there was some guy in front of me that fucking pre-ordered it, and I was like, this motherfucker got the fucking issue that I wanted, but nah. The single issue that we're talking about, and it is a thick boy. This is basically 3 issues put into one, if you will.
More
It's
or less, yeah.
it's fucking huge, and it's gonna be Bug Wars, the Spider Witch special. Um, Going into this a little prequel, if you will. I saw how much hype this shit was getting, man. I know how excited everyone was for this. I Everyone was totally high or hot on this book, and I was like, all right, man, I'm ready to fucking roll. I'm ready to get into this shit, and I'm ready to see that raunchy kind of a little weird shit that Bug Wars kind of presents through the eyes of the Spider Witch, which wasn't my favorite character. You know, I'm a main character type guy, man. I love Slade. I think he's fucking badass, and I can't wait to see where they take his character. But uh, this one is starring the Spider Witch, and I it was just okay in my opinion. I was seeing the 5 stars being thrown around by my boy Luke here. He was throwing around the 5 stars, kind of hyping me up, man. And I read it, and it was, bro. This sounds really bad, but it was hard for me to kind of finish this book.
What?
Yeah, man. Whenever I finished the first story around the whole like fire spider and shit like
That
that,
shit was cool though.
it was pretty cool. And the thing that kind of kept sucking me out of the book was I kept wondering, I'm like, well, if Wista's exiled from this fucking, from these like spider people, then why is she even fucking helping them? And then I had to keep going back and rereading that conversation that her and that big old actual spider that they had. And it was, she's doing it just because the people that exiled her also exiled her like love interest to the weeds, to the further weeds, and they oversee that part as well. So they, in a way, she's still protecting her lover by doing quests for the place she got exiled from. So
She's
I was
basically
already,
like a spider mercenary, kind of.
yeah, yeah, and I was kind of like I was thrown off by that because I was like, it like I get it, but it still like doesn't like make sense. So I was like, all right, well, fuck it, whatever. Let's keep reading it. So then I thought the battle between that fire spider and Wista was pretty cool. I thought it was really cool. I thought it was tropey a little bit with the way Wista, she was about to die, but she ends up awakening her fucking electric powers or something like that, and
Or something.
uh, yeah, something like that. And I thought that part was pretty cool, but it was until they started getting into like the whole overarching story that was like Slade in the whole backyard and stuff like that. That it kind of lost me a little bit, man. I don't know, like whenever they started introducing what they were alluding to in the first trade, which was the Roach Knights.
Yeah, dude.
Uh, it's like I don't know what it is. I think Bug Wars builds its world a little bit too heavy for my taste. It's like there's just so much to remember. There's so much fucking going on. There's so many different factions, and then at that, there's characters that get exiled, and you don't know, you don't even fucking remember why, and then you start kind of remembering why. There's just so much to keep hold on to, and I think that's where I like the first trade a lot more because it's starring a character that is just as clueless as us. So it's kind of like a vessel for us to be confused alongside the main character because as you should be, right? He's confused as well alongside the reader. But with this special, it just felt like there was so much world building and so much shit that we should have already known that it made it hard for me personally to really grasp everything that happened. With that being said, I think the star story out of this entire thing was actually the second one with the little spider boy and stuff
Oh
like
yeah,
that.
that was crazy.
You messing up my bed?
I think that was the whole star of the entirety of the issue. It's an oversized issue. It's like 60 pages for $6. I think that's crazy deal. I think that's such a fucking good bargain on the book. Um, but yeah, with the little boy, the way Wista kind of keeps telling you, like in her own bubble, like kind of speaking from the past or from the future, telling you like I shouldn't have brought him along. I shouldn't have brought him along. I should have just stayed away. And it's kind of selling you on how fucked up this world is because this little kid is getting
It's
harassed.
almost kind of berserky.
Yeah, kind of in a way, yeah. And I didn't expect I fully got fooled, man. Like to fucking be completely transparent with you guys. I thought that little kid was gonna be a mainstay character. I'm like, oh shit, they're introducing like a new kid. You know what I mean? He's gonna be like he's gonna be like Puck to Guts, but the Spider Kid to Wista. You know what I mean? He's gonna kind of break her up, like kind of crack her little shell a little bit, kind of emerge her actual personality from this, battle hardened spider warrior, if you will. And then totally gets flipped on his head, and the fucking kid ends up getting absolutely fucking slaughtered by all these different mites and shit. And I was like, whoa, that was totally out of left field. That was crazy. And I, honest to God, do not remember what the last story was in this book.
Well, the last story followed a different spider witch, and she's like, I guess one of the main villains, I guess, and
Oh yeah, yeah, that's right.
she essentially, they think that, what is it? They think that Slade is destined to be like a bad guy pretty much, and they think that he's unworthy to have the amulet or whatever, so they go to try to kill him in his sleep. But then the roach
Yeah,
knights
see,
that protect the house, there was like this huge battle.
yeah, I was totally fucking confused on that last, and it left a bad taste in my mouth because I was like, is this Wista or like? I was totally confused, and then I thought it was cool that they showed Slade and stuff like that. But the one thing that I found the most confusing was that right there. Is that his fucking brother?
I don't know, man. That's why I really liked that panel in particular, because you've got all these characters that you've never seen before, and you're like, well, because you've got Slade, and then you obviously see Slade's dad, right? Jim, but then you're wondering who the fuck
See the
that
squirrel.
the hazmat guy, like who's that, or like the little warrior. I guess with the eye patch, that probably is Sydney, because he got his eye ripped out. Uh,
Yeah, it has to be.
which I mean that would be really cool. Um, yeah, like it's just hinting at what's to come, and it gives you a little peek. And then the squirrel guy, like what I really liked, not to cut you off, but one of the things that I really liked about this issue is it feels like it's the first volume was kind of directionless. You're dropped into this world, and then Slade is trying to figure out how all this shit works, right? And by the end, it kind of closes the door a little bit. Slade figures things out. He becomes what they call like the world stomper or whatever. Like
Yeah, yeah,
he
yeah.
he talks to his dad, and he finally kind of fully steps into that role by the end of the book. But it was sort of about saving his brother, and like once all of that got figured out, cool, that was kind of the end. But it didn't really have an overarching like villain, you know but this felt like it was setting up like an actual like big bad, you know being that squirrel warrior guy and his people. And then at the end of the book, you see Wista's lover fighting against him, or like encountering him. And you know
Yeah, that's right.
like it felt like they were setting up an actual like villain for the first time, which I was pumped for.
Yeah, bro, this series is gonna be long. It's gonna be the next like 50 plus issue
I hope
series, man.
so,
Because
bro.
the way that, I mean, this final panel, they're not just setting up the squirrel guy.
What is
You know what I
that?
mean?
I didn't even see. What is that in the top right? Like, that is fucking.
They're like they're like fucking Athenian soldier looking fucking guys.
Oh shit, that is sick.
Yeah, so like whatever this, like this has like why is even the father here? Bro, this series is gonna be long. This shit is gonna be long because they're not only setting up the fucking squirrel villain to be crazy as shit, and I do like the design of him as well. Like I think he gives off like that Viking fucking, you know, like with like the blue war paint around his shit. He does give off that vibe. I don't know what it is, man. I just don't think I'm as hot on it as everybody else. Like, and I'm like, I know I'm not missing anything. It's just I it's just not like as peak as I think everyone like thinks it is. Like, yeah, I think like whenever you think about it, obviously the potential is crazy, right? They could do so much shit, but I think as of right now with the 7 issues that have came out, it's not like Geiger peak or anything like that. You know what I mean? Like I still
Yeah,
have gripes with Geiger, obviously, like with the whole villain thing, but it, it's like I don't
I
know, man.
I get what you're
I
saying. It's compared to Geiger, it's definitely not as emotionally complex. Uh, and in that way, Geiger definitely has a foot above it. But I just think I mean, I guess it just kind of also depends what you're looking for. Because I feel like Bug Wars, it has all this cool world building stuff, but it's not that deep. Like Geiger is pretty emotional, and it has that kind of inner turmoil of Tarek. And in that way, it's like, and I know you like that kind of stuff because I do too, and that's why we both really like Berserk, is all that internal turmoil shit, and that is something that Geiger handles, but that's just not what Bug Wars is. And so if that's what you're looking for in a series that really elevates it, then you're not gonna find that in Bug Wars. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, I hear you. Yeah, I just
At least not
I
yet.
think another thing, yeah, I think another thing that I didn't really enjoy too much is I'm not a big fan of Wista in general. Like I know that's your favorite character, but I guess another reason why I didn't like it as much either is because it's basically a fucking continuation of the first trade, and I thought this was gonna be a prequel story of like one of her, So I was wondering, like, I guess my main thought process was like, bro, where the fuck? Why has he not come back in 3 months? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm wondering about Slade. I don't really, care too much about Wista and what she's doing. You know what I mean? Because she was very much like a one note character in Bug Wars. The single trade that is out, in my opinion. I Yeah, I don't know. I like talking about it. I think I like it more than I at first whenever I first finished it, but still it's not the series hasn't fully grabbed me yet. And I know we're on issue 7, you know what I mean? We're barely at the fucking tip of the iceberg that is Bug Wars. But as of right now, I just think everyone loves it way more than I do, and I want to like it as much as you guys do. It's just I'm not there with it yet until I think until we get Slade back in the whole fucking his whole getup with Pac and shit like that.
Which, dude, Pac had a kind of a cool moment in this too, if I remember.
Yeah, he did in the house and stuff like that,
Yeah,
right?
dude, that shit was cool.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, so as much as it like goes against my rule because I'm like, I'm not really feeling the fucking entirety of the story, but I am very interested to see where it goes.
pick up issue
So
7. I
yeah,
the reason why I tell you this, Cam, is because if you think about it, right, and just kind of the direction the story is going, the way that I see it, and I could be wrong, but the way that I see it, right, is at the end of Volume 1, Slade, kind of does what he needs to do. He saves his brother, but at the end of the day, he's not a mite, he's a human, and he's a kid. He has kid shit that he needs to do, school and all that. So he goes back to the house, but he still has bugs that are like his informants, pretty much, right? They're telling him what's going on down in the bug world, and in that way he's still keeping an eye on what's going on. But they're setting up this villain where the squirrel guy, where like they're kind of in the woods, but they're starting to attack into the yard, and so a bunch of these bugs are gonna die. You know, they're gonna continue raiding, almost like Vikings, like you were saying, like the Viking invasion of England. They're gonna come into the yard and keep getting further and killing a bunch of people, raiding these little bug villages and areas on the outskirts, and then eventually enough people are gonna die and enough damage will be done that Slade gets word of this, and I imagine he's gonna be like, well, shit, now I've got to go back down there. I'm gonna have to kick this guy's ass and protect the people of my yard, pretty much. And that's sort of the vibe that I get, like, of what's coming is, you know, these Viking guys are getting a little too ballsy, and then Slade's gonna get word of it from his informants, and he's gonna have to go down there and kick some ass. You know what I mean?
when you put it like that, it makes it a lot more interesting because, like, yeah, I will agree with you. The first trade did feel like a little like separated from like a main quest. You know what I mean? Like it didn't feel like there was much direction in that first issue rather than just kind of dumping you into this pool of fucking mind fuckery that is the yard, you know what I mean? With mites, spiders, fucking and so it's just all kinds of crazy shit, right? And then but now the way that you put it like that, it almost does give a quest vibe because it's Slade's house. You know what I mean? It's his
Well, if you
yard.
think of it, he's basically like the king, protecting his people. Like his yard is like
Exactly.
his fiefdom, as they call it. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, that's just
So
the way
yeah,
I see it. I don't know
Yeah,
if
for
that's
sure.
the intention, but that's how it was read.
Yeah. See, so like you're definitely opening my eyes on that, and I feel like this second arc is gonna be Slade kind of protecting his yard from critters and fucking that crazy Viking guy. But I have a feeling, man, that we're gonna have to something's gonna happen where we're gonna go out the yard and it's gonna be full blown. We got birds, we got fucking lizards, you know what I mean? We got
Yeah,
fucking
bro.
gophers and all that crazy shit. So like you're saying, like I guess maybe I should look at it more of like a potential way than what it's already done because I have liked what's been said or been told through the first trade. It just it's crazy, you know what I mean? But I guess I just wasn't too hot on this because it didn't really focus on what I, you know, wanted from Bug Wars. I guess it's just kind of telling it is a side story, which at the end of the day it is basically a side character and her fucking side story, which I guess I was expecting a little more, but the ending of it, um, without really remembering that final little issue part too much. I think that final panel with the fucking the glass crack and you just see fucking Slade on top and all of the potential around it. Yeah, man. I think I might have to pick up issue number 7 because I do like Bug Wars a lot, but I just want to see more Slade and more of how a fucking child handles this shit, which that's basically what issue number 1, volume number 1 was. So yeah, I'm just ready. I'm ready to see, um, you know, some crazy shit. And don't get me wrong, man. There was some shit in the Spider Witch special that was a little out there, a little weird for me in particular. But I mean, we were just talking about some fucking possessed demon girl fucking grinding on a sword for Christ's sake. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
so I mean, it isn't. And I like Gans, bro. Like if you ever read Gans, that shit is fucking weird. Like the whole thing is fucking weird. So it's not too out of my wheelhouse. I wouldn't even say it's out of my wheelhouse at all. I guess I was just looking for the wrong things in the Spider Witch special, and with all the hype around it as well. With you know, not only my hype as well, but like everyone's hype without Bugwares hasn't been around for a minute. You know what I mean? And everyone was so fucking hot on this book, and I was expecting fucking insanity. And I guess I didn't really get that from this. And I guess I was just expecting the wrong thing. But with what you're saying, I definitely am interested. Like I said, I haven't been fully sucked into the book yet. Um, but I'm hoping with issues number 7 and 8 and 9, and even 10, the next trade's worth. I'm hoping because I do not want to wait for that next volume, bro. Like really, because I was thinking about it. Like if I don't pick up 7, you know what I mean, then I'm gonna literally be waiting for the next year
Yeah.
for that next volume, and I don't want to wait, man, because I did like a lot Bug Wars Volume 1. Don't
Well,
like it as much as other stuff that I've read, but
if
I
if I
did enjoy
remember
Bug.
correctly though, dude, the first the singles for Bug Wars, it ended in either July or August, and then the trade came out in October. So it wasn't that long between the trade and the wrapping up. But then again, you do have to wait for the run itself to end. So yeah, it'll still be a while, but at least between like the trade coming out and the second volume ending, it won't be that long.
Yeah. So I shouldn't judge my likeness or like what I like about Bug Wars through this. I think I should just remember what I enjoyed about the first volume, which is basically the entirety of it. And Slade was the character that I really, I wouldn't say connected with, but he was the character that really sold me on the book. The whole like fish out of water type vibe that he gives, and even with what you're saying, like how he's basically the protector of his yard, and there's nothing that we've seen in this. There's nothing stopping the fucking bugs from going inside of the house and literally lighting the entire house on fire or something like that. So, whenever you threaten Slade's family, what is Slade gonna do? He's gonna fucking protect. You know what
Right.
I mean? So I think what I like about Bug Wars wasn't in this as much as it was in Bug Wars itself. Do you get what I'm saying?
Right. Well, and one of the things too that I mean, I could be wrong, but because I mean, I just reread the entire first trade just the other day, but one of the things that was never explained was who killed his dad.
That's right. That is right. It's
Like,
Wista.
well, imagine. No, I mean, I'm sure the Spider Witches probably had a hand in it, because they're kind of like in the shadows planning shit. But like, we still don't know who killed his dad, as far as I'm aware. I mean, there's so many. I mean, there's a bunch of potential, but then there's also a couple of just straight up unanswered questions. So
So let's do a little theory craft.
absolutely.
Who the fuck are those hazmat guys? Because those are humans, and they look
Yeah,
they look small. They look small.
dude. What if exterminators?
Like the exterminators figure out some way to fucking shrink themselves. Because obviously there's some sort of exterminator if they're humans, if they're wearing hazmat suits, and they have what looks like guns filled with poison, right?
Well, if you remember, I mean, you probably don't, but in the first, I think it might even be the first issue of Bug Wars. You know how Sydney's all tripping about the bugs and stuff, and their mom is like, I've tried calling all of the exterminators in the area, but all of them, whenever I tell them the address, they all just hang up on me. Meaning that the
Mm,
exterminators used to know about at least something was going on, whether that mean, like the bugs have attacked them or whatever. Like the exterminators, to some extent in the area, like in their town, know about this place, and they've heard some crazy shit that goes on. The bugs fight back. Like, so I don't know, man. Maybe some exterminators finally come and they're like, okay, we have an idea of how to. They have their own shrink ray or something, or I don't know, man. But
they still fucking Slade's fucking amulet.
or that, or the amulet goes haywire and turns everybody around him small, including Slade.
Isn't it missing a piece?
It is. It's unstable because it's incomplete, unless the
Maybe the exterminator
exterminators have the missing piece.
that other piece, yeah.
Who knows?
Because mm, I don't know, man. See, that's like why you said Bug Wars is cool because we could theory craft all this shit. I just yeah, another thing. Don't get me wrong, I do like Bug Wars, guys. I just wasn't too hot on the special because I guess what I like about Bug Wars is Slade and the whole father thing and the whole fucking fish out of water thing. I just wasn't too hot on the whole Wista single side story. You know what I mean? Even though I did find there was some really fucking sweet parts, like the whole fire fucking spider versus Wista and
Well,
how she kind of has like a awakening or whatever.
think about it this way, Cameron. The point of the special wasn't necessarily to give us a full on like continuation. It was basically just to give us enough to hold us over and get us excited for what's to come in volume 2, because I mean, we got some Bug Wars content within this world. It gave us a sneak peek at some of the shit to come, and then in the very end it gave us, not an exact release date, but that was the first time where it was confirmed summer 2026. Like, the whole
So
point of it
what?
is just to give us a little bite to get us excited and back in
Yeah,
the mind space, and then basically is just a segue to like tease book 2.
yeah. So I will be honest though, that ending with like the glass break and the different people that were in that shit was fucking exciting.
Yeah,
Don't get me wrong. But see, when I'm fucking hyped, I'm like expecting Slade to fucking come up and save fucking Wista or some crazy shit, and I didn't get that, which I guess too high of expectations will kill, you know, certain things. But it at that very final panel, man, did fucking make me excited. It did.
I'm telling you,
Um,
bro.
yeah. So what did it? Is it saying that the second volume is coming out this summer?
Well, I'm by volume, it means like issue 7, like the next arc.
Okay, that's what I was wondering because I was like, they're like straight up pre-announcing this entire fucking.
When I said volume, I meant like the contents of volume 2, not like the trade, not
Yeah,
the trade paperback itself.
yeah. I see what you're saying. So yeah, I'm probably gonna have to put it on the pools because at the time after reading it, I was just kind of a little sour on it, and I guess that's why I was kind of like, I don't know, man. I don't really think this is for me. But that's not what Bug Wars. I mean, it is what Bug Wars is, but it's not what main Bug Wars is, which
Right,
is following Slade protecting his fucking kingdom, basically. You know what I mean?
right.
So um, yeah, I'm probably gonna have to pick up issue number 7. Um, but the thing is, man, if the Spider Witch special isn't in any of collected editions, they're missing out on a big chunk of what the fucking story, like what happens. You know what I mean?
I'm sure they're gonna retread that ground. You know, I think that the point of it is to get people who are already invested and excited in this world to give them that piece, you know, and just to kind of, it's like a
I
basically
see
a
what
piece
you're
of
saying.
promotional material. Like it's not necessarily super important, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. I just think like, if I was
If
reading Bug Words, which, I read the first volume, you know what I mean? And there was something in between,
well, if
like, because this could basically be a fucking movie. You know what I mean? Like that Spider Witch special, like it could be a movie that you miss in between parts 1 and 2 of a fucking story. You know what I mean?
well, you know, what would be really sick is if they do an Image Deluxe edition where they combine volumes 1 and 2. If they do that, I'm sure they would put the Spider Witch special in there, if for a deluxe edition.
Does Image do any trim sizes that are other than deluxe editions or compendiums? Like, do they do an omnibus or anything like that?
Well, they're doing their first omnibus here in April for Invincible.
Invincible, right? Yeah. Bug Wars omnibus, man. That
Eventually,
would be fucking sick. Like the all red fucking spine and shit like that. I think the red trim is fucking hard, man. I think it's fucking sick. But see, I that's what I'm glad. I'm glad Image is getting into the omnibus like hardcover oversized edition like format instead of
well
the
they have,
back.
what do they call them, the like library editions or whatever. Like they have
Yeah,
those.
yeah, yeah. I see those.
Like you remember the original Invincible omnibuses, like the white ones with like the silver letters
Yeah,
on the side, the big. They have those, and they have something similar for The Walking Dead, I believe. Um, and I
yeah.
think
The
they
Walking
they
Dead
have a
have like
Spawn one, I think too.
yeah, The Walking Dead have like absolute editions
Yeah,
in
pretty
Image
much.
where they have like dust jackets, but they're the size of like the Junkyard Joe Deluxe.
Hmm. Yeah.
Um, my LCS has a bunch of those, but hopefully if they ever do like some sort of like, cause I mean, I wouldn't be surprised like you're saying, like I wouldn't be surprised if fucking Bug Wars was the next 60, 70, 100 issue run.
I
You know
hope,
what I mean?
bro.
Like they do 2 omnibuses where they actually do contain or put the Spider Witch special in there, which I'm sure, man. There's no way they're gonna leave that part out because it's like, I mean, it's nothing crazy, but like I'm pretty fucking sure that Wista's gonna talk about the fucking fire spider or something like that whenever her and Slade come together again.
Well, like, and if you think about like collected editions and stuff too, they're always including, like, if you look at the back, like the free comic book day
Yeah,
content or
yeah, exactly.
stuff like that. So I'm sure with like a deluxe edition, they might not include it in the actual trade, but it could be like a bonus incentive to get a hardcover format. Or I'm sure it'll be collected at some point, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, let's hope so. Because even though I wasn't too hot on the special, I do think it is. I wouldn't say required, but I would say it 100% helps with the entirety of the world building, adding to Wista's character,
Yeah.
and almost kind of being like that One Piece part where they fucking give those silhouettes of all the different fucking warlords and shit like that, or world leaders, where that part was very reminiscent of that. 100%. The final panel of the Spider Witch special was very reminiscent of like the whole silhouettes that Oda likes to do in One Piece.
Or even in Berserk when we first see the God Hand.
Hmm.
Remember?
Yep.
In the
Whenever
Black
it shows
Swordsman
like
arc.
that hand.
Yeah,
Yeah.
dude.
Yeah. So, yeah, I like Bug Wars, guys. Don't fucking hate me. I really did like that first trade. I thought it was awesome, but that special wasn't as good in my opinion. But it was still pretty good. There was some still like oh shit parts in it, in my opinion.
Yeah, man. No, I get it. I get it. But I don't know. It's one of those things. Is you got to think about what's to come. And like my original rating, I think I was too much in the mind of, setting shit up as opposed to I had to
What
really,
it was.
yeah, I had to take a step back and think, it it in and of itself for what it was,
Yeah.
but
Yeah. And I think that's like me and you are kind of mirrors of each other, where I was looking at it for what it was and adding to the story, which it did, but it didn't add as much as I wanted. But then I guess I just was already towards the end kind of like sour on it, that I was kind of like, you know what I mean? Like whatever. But now looking at it now, you know, not in hindsight, it's almost, it is exciting. That final panel, you know what I mean? Seeing those different fucking factions, and who knows where they're going to take the story. And I really do hope that they eventually take it out of the yard, because I want it to become fucking huge.
well,
You know what I mean? Like I want it to get crazy, like where we got like a sandbox with fucking fire ants or like some crazy shit. You know what I
or
mean?
even if they go like underground and then there's like termites or some shit.
Yeah, for sure, man. Yeah, like they could, as much as they've built the world up already, almost too much in my opinion, where it's like a little bit too much to fucking gather every single thing that they're talking about. There's like so many different factions. There's so much more they could add to this fucking world, man. It's it's gonna be fucking crazy with like cold-blooded fucking, like I said, lizards, gophers, fucking birds. They're already doing squirrels, which is gonna be fucking insane. And you know, someone's gonna die. Someone's gonna die, whether it be Pac or fucking
Dude, if they
some.
touch my boy Pac, nah, it's over.
So yeah, I'm excited to see where it goes. Yeah, I'll definitely be picking up issue number 7 for sure. I hope it comes out sooner than fucking later though.
I'm excited. It says summer 2026, so
Yep.
hopefully that means June, and not August. But we'll see.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, fuck, June's coming quick, man.
Or May, even like end of May. Who knows?
Yeah. Well, it'll be cool, man. It'll be cool to pick it up and be introduced back into the world of Bug Wars through Slade's eyes.
Absolutely, bro. But hey, what do you say we about wrap this episode up? We're at about 2 hours.
Yep. Yeah, let's do it, man. Yeah, that's pretty much everything I wanted to talk about. Maybe next episode I could talk about this video game that I've been playing, man. It's obviously I've been playing the fucking Counter-Strike, but I got into a visual novel, I guess you could
Mm,
say.
okay.
Um, it's kind of a visual novel, but yes, but no. I mean, there's like very little gameplay to it. You're basically walking around this house, but it's kind of like a Lovecraftian horror um type of story that I think you would fucking really think is cool. I think you would really enjoy this style of game. But we can talk about that next episode, and whenever I finish it, because it's a very short game. It's like 3.5 hours or something like that, but
Oh
with like
shit.
multiple different endings. So hopefully I can get around to finishing more than one ending, and maybe next episode I could talk in depth about it. But it definitely seems like something you would be into.
Sick, bro. Yeah, I'm down to hear about it.
But all right, guys. Well, I appreciate everyone that has stopped by and enjoyed this weekly issue of We Got Issues. We like to keep you guys supplied, unlike fucking Bug Wars where they're keeping us waiting months and months and months. Um, yeah. Appreciate you guys watching, and be on the lookout, and let us know down in the comments if you guys actually watched our first key issue featuring JS Production. Probably my favorite episode we've done. Fantastic conversation, and I quite literally lost track of time in the middle of that episode. It was very,
It was
very
a
fun to
ton of
film. So
fun.
if you guys haven't already watched that, go watch that again and over again and over again. Just kidding. Let us know down in the comments what you guys thought about that issue, and let us know down in the comments your thoughts about the Bugware special. Let us know down in the comments what you guys thought about anything that we talked about today, and be on the lookout for our upcoming Berserk arc read through. I know I've been lacking on it a little bit, but I'm gonna be able to get it done in one sitting because I usually like to read my stuff like that whenever I'm into it. I just like to finish it all in one go. Um, that's gonna be a wild episode. Me and my boy Luke already kind of were talking about it a little bit about some
It's
crazy
hard
shit that
not
goes
to,
down.
man. It's so hard.
It is very hard not to, and it is one of, if not my favorite arc in all of Berserk. But yeah, it's gonna be a great episode. There's gonna be some great conversations, and be on the lookout for that one. And what? Anything else you got to say, Luke?
Nah, man, that's about it. We covered just about everything I wanted to talk about today. I mean, there wasn't really anything in particular, but we managed to
We managed to
fill
fill
it out.
space.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure, man, for sure. So I appreciate everyone that came out. Thank you guys so much for watching. It has been your host for today's issue, Xboxgut.
MLGman.
Peace, guys.
See ya.